And we're live with another episode of Built to Endure with me, Dr. Daniel Shapiro, doctor of physical therapy and chronic pain specialist. Guys, I treat so many people with low back pain. So many people. I've seen thousands of people with low back pain. And there's usually a very common denominator with those people who have back pain. And it's usually one of a few different problems. But it's really straightforward, whether it's a disc herniation, a stenosis issue, degenerative disc disease, arthritic changes, uh, decreased disc height. There's so many things that can happen within your spine as we get older, different parts of our actual lives. Some people get arthritic changes faster than others. Some people slower. Some people can have disc herniations and have no pain. But the point is that there's usually very straightforward actions that one can take. Now, let's actually start at the beginning of the process that you probably go through, right? When we have pain, what do? We go to the doctor because, hey, this pain shouldn't be here. And we're programmed, okay, if there's a problem, we go to the doctor. Now, the doctor, okay, so it takes an x-ray. Maybe there's some change in your spine, but usually the next step is to try to get an MRI. And then usually with the MRI, they'll point to something in the spine. Oh, look at that. You have a disc herniation in L4-L5 or L5-S1. Oh, would you look at that? You have some mild and moderate stenosis. Oh, look at that. You have arthritic changes. You have decreased disc height. Oh, look at that. Like, that's where your pain is coming from. But oftentimes, it isn't. Or if it is, let's say you do have a disc herniation and it's causing you pain. Well, the route to getting out of pain still is not just injections and medications and or surgery. We definitely don't want to do those things. Or, we definitely don't want to do the injections or the pain medication as a long-term fix, because this is how I see people who've been in pain for 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years when the pain could have been treated really simply. Okay. But this is how people have pain for such a long time, because you don't do the right things. And then when doctors tell you to, hey, go to physical therapy, and then they do the same glute bridges, the same clamshells, the same monster walks, the same bicycle, the same hot packs and cold packs, the same electric stimulation, like none of that stuff actually works. It is nowhere near enough diversity for your body in terms of movement. And for your body to truly heal, you have to engage very key musculature that runs along your spine and muscles that are around your hips, right? This is an absolute must, regardless of what you have. It pretty much doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have, but you need to start activating these long strips of muscle. There are muscles that come from right above your tailbone all the way up towards the base of your neck. There are muscles from your tailbone and the lower back coming from there all the way into your shoulder blades, different parts of your mid back. There's these really long, amazing, strong, versatile strips of muscle that literally help to support your spine. And this is the thing that I see all the time with patients, is that no one has stimulated those muscles, not nearly to the point where they should be. No one is focused on thoracic rotation and lateral flexion, right? That's bending your body side to side or rotating it, right? No one is focused on isometrics of through hinging. No one is focused on loaded hinging, such as deadlifts and squats. Everyone's told to stay away from those things, even though those compound movements are so damn good for you. Like, crazy good for you. They provide so much strength. They start to produce so much activation. Now, look, like, I'm not saying that you have to go right away going into deadlifts and squats. I'm not saying that at all. Most people can't do that right away, and that's fine. But the goal should be to build up to be able to do resistance training. But the only way to do that, the only true way to really crush low back pain is to work on those strips of muscle that help to keep your spine upright, that help to rotate your spine, and that help to side bend your spine. This is incredibly, incredibly important, and the missing piece that most patients have. 99% of patients, as a matter of fact. Now, the other thing that's really important. So those muscles are really, really important, right? The muscles that maintain us upright are really important, but the muscles in your hips are just as important, right? These are the hips and the low back. People look at them as two separate joints, but they're not. They really are one joint, because the spine goes down and converges into what forms the hips, right? As your lumbar spine turns to your sacrum is connected to your pelvis. It is part of the pelvis. So you need to understand that like all those muscles that cross over and have implications on the spine, there's muscles that also have implications on the hips, and the hips have implications on the back. And there's also nerves that run through your back, going through your hips and down to the legs. Like this is all a system. But 99% of the back pain that I see comes from a combination of the muscles through the spine and muscles through the hips, where they are just not prioritized. Providers are not actually trying to progress and change how your body moves. I had a patient who came in with really, really bad back pain. It started off with low back and mid back pain, then it spread to the upper back, and then he started to have pain through the arms and through the legs. And over the course of about 6 years, he has seen 10 different chiropractors and 3 different physical therapists. And uh, not any of those providers, that's 13 providers, not any of those providers have done anything for his pain. Nothing. There was no change in pain levels. The pain only starts to get worse and starts to spread to the point where he had to actually quit his job. And upon doing the evaluation, the answer to what the problem truly was so obvious. It was so damn obvious. He had no extension through his spine. So again, those muscles that I was talking about that help to hold the spine up, weak, weak. No one ever took him through anything that helps to engage those muscles. Rotation through his spine, through his thoracic spine, very limited. Okay, mobility through his hips, very limited. Strength through supporting musculature in the hips and the back, very, very weak, very unstable. And so when you have these issues long term, what ends up happening is that there's like when weakness happens, right? And prolonged weakness, usually that brings tightness, right? So we think, oh, if something feels tight, we try to stretch it, right? And nothing against stretching, but a lot of times you need strengthening. But with more weakness comes not only just tightness, but comes pain, irritation, and compression along different nerve channels. And so if you have pain starting in one area and then pain starts to spread, well, congratulations. Now we're dealing with nerve pain. Now we have other nerve implications because of muscular weakness, which is something that happens very, very often. And so to combat back pain, to combat nerve pain, to combat instability of your spine, you have to, have to start engagement and mobility of the muscles that line the spine and that are within the hips. It has to happen. I see so many people who like we could be sitting here all day going through one case after another of someone who's had pain for 8 years, someone who has pain for 26 years, someone who has had pain for 40 years. Okay? Because nobody, for one reason or another, no one thought that working through those muscles was a good idea. No one thought that the mobility of the spine was a good idea because, hey, oh, you have a disc herniation. Oh, you have stenosis. Oh, you have this, you have that. Oh, we got to stay away from everything. You have to stay away from everything. You can't, your body doesn't work that way. That's not how the body functions. Rule number 42 of the body, okay? If the body is designed to do actions X, Y, and Z, and we stop doing actions X, Y, and Z, guess what? Pain. Pain, stiffness, limitations, restrictions. Disc herniations will happen. And even if they are the cause of your pain, you must get moving because that's what's going to help alleviate the pain. If you have stenosis, you have to move. If you have spondylolisthesis, you have to move. If you have decreased disc height, you have to move. If you have sciatica, you have to move. If you have, it doesn't matter. Activation is the remedy. Movement is the remedy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging. It may be uncomfortable. It may even provoke some pain. It might. But if you don't do that, if you don't start activating those muscles and working on the mobility and getting the spine moving, getting the hips moving, you will continue to be in pain for a very long time. And every day, every week, every month that goes on where you continue to have pain, the problem is getting worse. The problem is spreading. Just like with that patient who I just told you about. It started in his back. And then it moved down and up towards his neck, up and out through his arms. It moved through the legs. right? All because the problem, the true problem that he had, was completely neglected. I'm telling you, it may seem counterintuitive, it may seem scary, but this is what you have to do if you have any interest in getting out of pain. Back pain is not complicated. It's common, very common, but it's not complicated. Okay? Now, I'd like to move on to the live caller of the day. We got Kelly. Kelly from New York. What's going on, Kelly?
Hi, Dr. Danny. My name's Kelly, and I have Wegener's granulomatosis. I've been suffering with this since 1994. When I was 18, I was diagnosed, and now next year I'll be 50. And it's been a long time up and down. And when I was first diagnosed, they did numerous spinal taps on the lower part of my back, and I've had issues with it ever since. I don't let it slow me down, but it takes time to go through the day sometimes. And a lot now that I'm getting older, as everybody says, I feel pain more readily when the cold weather sets in and different things. And I just was hoping you could help give me a couple ideas of maybe some stretches or exercises I could do to relieve the pressure and pain, or give me an idea of what to do. Right now, currently, I do some stretches, and sometimes I lay flat on the floor with my legs against the wall straight up to try and ease the pressure, but nothing really helps. And I don't like taking pain pills. I try and stay far away from any type of pain medicine because I've been on so much medicine over the years that I like to be in control of my mental state.
Yeah, and hey, Kelly, all the power to you for not relying on pain medication, because as I'm sure you know, that's not a fix to anything. It's a temporary patch, some extra poison through the system, um, and we have to be able to live our lives without pain medication for sure. So Kelly, tell me this. You mentioned that stretch where you have your feet up against the wall. What else are you doing?
When I get up in the morning, I'll do like feet presses where I stretch my feet up and down, and I try to do squats, but they're not my favorite, so I really tend not to do them. Um, and I try to walk, but that's about it.
Okay. How much do you walk?
About half a mile to a mile because I have lung involvement, so my lungs get really tired quickly.
Okay. Do you have any restrictions that your medical team has told you about, like anything that you in particular that you need to avoid?
No, they're pretty easy with me as long as I feel I can do it to do it. Just when I need rest, I stop and rest.
Right, but if you wanted to say, so if you get tired around the half mile or mile mark, like what if you wanted to push to a mile and a half? Could you?
I would slow down and then just probably take it a little slower, but I would make it.
Okay. And what about resistance training? Were you told that are you okay with doing it? Were you told to avoid it?
Nope, I wasn't told to avoid it.
Okay. Have you been to therapy before?
Yes,
Tell me about that
a long time
experience.
ago. It seemed like it was a band-aid. He just like put me through like a couple machines, and then he just kind of like didn't really work with me too much. So it was kind of frustrating.
Mm.
It seemed like he just didn't know what to do with me. He's like, just go use the bike, just go use the treadmill, and then you can go on your way. So it was kind of like, oh, okay. So,
Oh,
it sort of just felt like, you know, not the greatest fit for my need at the time. It wasn't like he wasn't hearing me.
yeah. So it sounds
So,
like
and the rowing machine, I like the rowing machine, but that was about it.
okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like you haven't been to therapy. You've been to BS. You didn't go to PT. You went to
Okay.
two other letters. You went to BS. Um, No, Kelly. So that's not right. The goal of a therapist, right? And this is what I talk about with my patients all the time. It's not only to help you with your pain, but it's to get you moving in a more productive fashion. It's to get you moving in a way where you're not afraid of movement, where you know when to push it and how to push it, where you're not at the at the whim and mercy of your own pain. And one of the biggest things that is so important is to establish your current baseline. So if you have pain, right, where would you say the location of your pain is?
The lower part of the back,
Okay.
right above where your the pants, the waist of your pants,
Okay. And does it go
and then
across the lower
pretty
back?
much right where. No, it goes right where right where your hand would go when you're holding the door open for a woman. It's pretty much right there.
Okay. And what triggers the pain?
Lately, it's just been like cold weather, or if I'm doing way too much.
It's cold weather, or what is it?
Whether I'm doing too much, like carrying groceries, pushing my body, just like if I'm just like on a very active day, like I help somebody with getting groceries, or I help, I
Mm-hmm.
try to clean the house, or try to do, too much in one day.
Got it. Okay, so it sounds like you have some load intolerance, right? So the moment your body goes through some kind of moment or continuous moments of stress, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but like if carrying groceries is something, which is an external load, is something that is provocative for your pain, then that tells me quite a bit. Or if you have more of an action packed day where you're running around doing things, helping others, or just more active on one day, and that's what causes the pain, then it sounds like you have a load intolerance or like low endurance point for the muscles that support your back, which is something that like is very very common, very very common. So this is why it's so important to establish your baseline of, okay, what is the actual tipping point, right? So that the pain doesn't seem by accident. It doesn't seem like, oh, every
Right.
winter I'm gonna have pain, or every time I have more than 2 or 3 bags of groceries, boom, the pain's gonna hit. Right? We need to establish your baseline. But one of the best things that you can do for yourself is on average, how many heavy days, or how many days do you feel like you're running around throughout the week? Is Yeah,
Probably 5 of the 7.
5 of the 7. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel like by the fifth day of the 7, it's like the worst at that point, or is it kind of the same throughout the whole
Yeah,
week?
because that's like the tipping point where it's like I'm not getting out of bed tomorrow. I'm not answering the phone. Not doing anything.
Got it. Got it. Do you do any intentional movement? So again, you mentioned the feet up against the wall. You mentioned a couple different other things. Do you do any other intentional movements that focus on kind of like spine mobility and how your spine moves side to side, or any rotation based exercises, anything like that?
Like when I wake up in the morning in the bed, I always like put my arms above my head and like do a stretch that way, and then like stretch my legs out to make sure I don't get any Charlie horses right when I jump out of bed, because sometimes Charlie horses come.
Mm-hmm.
So I just
Okay.
make sure like okay that I can feel that I can feel I can feel all the muscles moving before I just pop out of bed and just start the day.
Got it. Okay. So then again, from the sounds of it, and again, Kelly, I haven't evaluated you, although I believe you're in New York, right?
Yes,
Oh, well.
upstate, not in not totally near you, but not too far away.
Well, just as a quick FYI, we do have tons of patients that we work with virtually all over upstate New York, down in Long Island. People who can't come to the office. We do that. People from New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Florida. But what it sounds like is, shameless plug aside, what it sounds like is your body is missing very crucial ranges of motion. And this is actually, I don't know if you heard the beginning of this episode, but this is actually what I started to talk about on this episode, is that what the one of the biggest things that people miss when it comes to crushing back pain is activation of the muscles that support the spine. But as part of that mission, part of that goal, is you need to start including more ranges of motion that your spine is capable of, such as side bending and rotation of the spine. So it sounds like there's a few things that your body is missing to actually have better support of itself, so that when you do run around for the 5 out of the 7 days, or you're carrying groceries, there's a reason why your back starts to give out and starts to tighten and probably cause you pain, is because those muscles are just not, they're only used to working in an environment where it is already hard for them to handle it, and where they already have a very low endurance point. So one of the best things that you could probably, and again, I haven't evaluated you, so I'm going to give kind of generalized advice here.
Yeah, I understand.
What might be a good idea is doing a move. I'm going to describe it to you, right? Is if you place your hips
Okay.
against the wall, if you place your hips and your back against the wall with your feet in front of you, so almost like you're kind of like leaning into the wall, right? And say, like, I'm going to give you a couple different variations of this, right? You push your hips into the wall,
Okay.
you keep your back very straight, and then you just bend your body forward, and you try to see how low can you go until you feel either a pull, a stretch, or just like some activation where it's just difficult to hold that position. And then you hold that position for 3 to 5 seconds. You come up and you do that
Okay.
again. Right? You bend down, keeping the back straight, hold for 3 to 5 seconds, come up and do that again. And do that, 6, 8, 10 times, whatever you can tolerate, and do that a few times throughout your day. Uh, and the second variation to that is doing the same thing, but then once you get down to the bottom, just turn your spine, keep the hips on the wall, but turn a little bit to your left
Hmm.
and turn a little bit to your right, and then come back up again. And then again, go down, turn a little bit to the left, turn a little bit to the right, and come back up again. Right? That is an example of a fairly low barrier move, or a couple moves that can help to already start waking those muscles up, and already gets you moving in a way that you doesn't sound like you're moving currently. Uh,
Okay.
I had a call. It was so interesting. I had a caller a few weeks back. She had lots of trouble walking more than like half a mile or a mile. She really liked walking with her son, and she just, it wasn't
Hmm.
comfortable at all. And I recommended her to try a move just like I just did for you. And I later got a message where she said, like, hey, I just started doing this like over the last week, and then she's like, I finally hit my first pain-free half mile. And then she sent me another message the following week saying, hey, I'm still doing that move you told me about on the episode on the podcast. I just got to my first pain-free mile. uh, and so like it was just getting better and better and better just from that one move that I had advised for her to give a try. So when you start inputting more resources, let's call it, or tools and different ways for your body to move, the body typically
Hmm.
has a very positive response to that. In which case you feel better.
I will try anything. And this sounds very, very something I can do during the day, even at work. So I'm really excited to try it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm
So,
all about easy access. you
well,
know.
no, but that's it. It's like, it's like, no, you don't have to spend $200 for a gym membership. This is something I could do at work and help relieve the pain even when I'm at work, and keep going through the rest of the day. And this really is making me excited that it's going to help in the future. So yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Of course. And Kelly, let me
I
give you a
really
bonus one.
appreciate it.
Let me give you a bonus. Is that okay?
Okay. Yes, sure.
Uh, at work, do you sit or stand?
Sit.
Awesome.
Well,
Okay.
I'm mobile. I walk too, because I'm doing different things, with the filing and bringing back and forth, but mostly sitting.
Okay. So while you're sitting, okay, I'm gonna describe another bonus move for you to try. While you're sitting,
Okay.
place your feet and your legs pretty wide apart and push your knees open. Now, you're going to place the right arm on the inside of the right thigh, and then you're going to just turn your body towards the left, right? With your right hand, right arm on the right thigh, inner thigh. You're going to turn the body to the left, and keeping your body rotated to the left, you're going to reach down to try to touch the bottom of your right foot. Right? Go as low as you can, come back up, and then switch sides. Right? Then left arm on the inside of the left thigh, turn your body to the right, and then again go down and reach down to the floor, and just see how that feels for you. If you're sitting mostly, this is such an easy to do move that helps your body go through flexion and extension and rotation and side bending all at once. And it should feel pretty gosh darn good.
Well, thank you so much. I'm can't wait to get back to my desk now.
Yeah, said no one ever, right? Until now.
Right. I know, right? Thank you so much, sir. I really do appreciate your help and answers with this, and I'm enjoying your podcast. And thank you.
Kelly, my pleasure. I only wish the very best for you, and I really hope that your pain gets better, that your endurance improves, that you walk for longer. Right? Just remember, it's okay to it's okay to get comfortable with being uncomfortable if it's what produces the results and the relief that you want. So I wish you the very best in your endeavors, and I hope that you do feel better.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You too. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.
So yeah, but this is what I'm talking about, right? It's there's so many things that our body's missing, and when it comes to back pain, rotation, side bending, flexion, extension, most people live their lives in a very singular dimension way, and that's, listen, if you aren't taught to move a different way, how can you expect to move differently? You know, I mean, Kelly herself, she said that she's been to therapy, she's been to PT, or as I called it, BS. She's been to that kind of place where they didn't really know what to do with her. They couldn't give proper instructions. It was your basic generic advice. But this is the majority of therapeutic places, right? And it's not your job. It's not your job as the patient to know what to do. It's not your job. You're not the one in healthcare. You're not the one with a PT degree. You're not the one who calls themselves a doctor of PT or a physical therapist, right? You're not the one who's doing that. Okay. You're the one looking for help. You're the one who's looking for guidance on what to do. But if that guidance isn't provided, then what? Then it's considered a failed attempt, right? Physical therapy failed you. That's it. You didn't fail physical therapy. Physical therapy failed you. And that's the difference. That's the damn difference. And it's frustrating because this kind of stuff, like what we just talked about with Kelly, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. This is like preliminary stuff. This is the stuff that I talk about with my patients on day one when they come to me. This is what we identify immediately. We identify all the limitations, right? If someone can go through flexion but not extension, cool, we work through extension. If someone can do extension but not flexion, cool, we do flexion. If someone has trouble with rotation and side bending, cool, we do rotation and side bending. We do the things that is hard because those are the things that bring results. And it's incredibly frustrating when the healthcare system continuously fails people time and time again, and people themselves feel like a failure instead of understanding that, hey, you didn't fail, you're not the problem. It's just the therapy that you went to sucked. It sucked. And now it's up to you to find a different place, a place that can better serve you and a place that can better help you. I'm telling you, if we just started to introduce more movement for the spine and be less afraid of the diagnosis, I am telling you, you would feel massive, crazy, colossal changes in how your spine feels, in how your back pain feels, in how strong you feel day to day. I'm telling you, crazy differences would be felt, and relatively quickly too. Relatively quickly. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of Built to Endure. This is something that's really important. I really hope you guys heed this advice and just start moving your bodies, because remember, your body was built to endure. You can do so much more than you think you can. You just have to be bold and daring enough to try. All right. So stay tuned for next week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed this one, and we'll see you all again next time.